panels, right? Yeah. Okay. Recording is started. I don't know where it's going to save it, but hopefully.
Oh, he said it's coming.
Okay.
Then your kid.
Yeah, just one. I outsourced the other one, so I only doing one.
What?
Outsource the real thing, okay?
Outsource it.
Get someone to do after him or send it to
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
so that's outsourced.
Okay, okay. I was wondering what
This one not due to go school yet, so I can't outsource.
I thought outsource the kid, not the kid.
I was thinking whether or not I should call child services or what.
Not yet, not yet.
Hold on, here. Hey, Paula.
Hey all, very sorry to keep you waiting. I was
Your ID still says NG Factory. Isn't that like many long time ago?
Yeah, no, I mean I'm strapping both accounts.
Oh, are you still with them or?
I mean I'm still in the space with them. Yeah, but I use this sometimes for like Office 365 for some external things. So generally my teams just sign on to the NG one. Yeah, which is why then I think I created a lot of like login trouble with Teams. Because sometimes then I switch out into my other Teams account.
Okay, thanks for joining us today. So I just introduced the team. So with us we have Nikita, Edward, and Seal, who are all in my MBA cohort. And we're all part of the same team.
Hi, Bora.
Good job.
So maybe I'll let Nikita and Edward take it.
Okay. So we wanted to do for one of our projects, we wanted to understand like the value proposition of the business that you've set up and you're running. So just to start off, like, could you give us a bit of a background on Get Solar?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so we started probably about 3.5 years back, initially incubated through venture country, which is like the venture arm of a French energy company. Primarily focused on rooftop solar, right? And then pivoting across the last 3 years, a couple times, but basically about mid last year launched like a rent-to-own model, residential rent-to-own model in Singapore. And I've been scaling that. Yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff that you can find on the website as well.
Okay. So how did you select like who is your target customer and your target market?
I mean, I think ultimately it's kind of dependent on the problem statement that you're solving. For us, what we really saw lacking in the market was kind of the fact that despite the fact that rooftop solar is already low cost, adoption was still extremely low. Penetration was still very low, and especially within the smaller rooftops, which don't have access to zero upfront cost offers. And so, like traditionally, that's always been the core problem statement that we're solving for the company.
Okay. So adoption, and how did you make that easier, like to increase adoption even though prices were low?
Sorry.
So the problem that you were solving was that even though prices were low, there was very low adoption of solar panels, right?
Yeah, I mean, but for solar, ultimately, there's still like a big lack of trust and awareness issue in the market. So most people don't understand how it works. They are not comfortable with like paying a hefty upfront cost, and this ends up becoming like the main barriers to adoption.
Okay. So you offer a rental model, is it?
That's right.
Okay, so then, and what are the services along with it? Like you take care of the servicing, the maintenance, so that they don't have to look into it.
That's right.
Okay, so apart from like, maybe lower cost because of renting and then maintenance, is there anything else that that's like a value proposition from your end to the customer that solves that problem statement?
So I think the consumer psychology that we realize is that generally if consumers don't trust or they don't understand the product in the market, it ends up being this really high perceived risk of rooftop solar ownership, right? And when we're launching the rent-to-own models, it's really to ultimately provide like a completely zero risk way for property owners to get solar on their roof. A big part of that then is also kind of covering full operations, maintenance of systems, providing them with like guarantees instead of paying up and like charging them like a flat monthly fee, which is already lower than their bill savings, right? So they get instant savings from that first month.
Wulong, but that would mean that your targeted audience will only be landed property owners in Singapore, right? You can't really target the HDB owners per se, or actually you have been working with government bodies as well, by HDB.
Generally for the government agencies, we consider those to be like large scale commercial projects because like tenders are run on those as well. So primarily in a residential space, it would be like the homeowners essentially, and then thereafter like small medium commercial property owners.
So it includes commercial properties as well, lah. So kind of like a business to business as well, right? Not just individuals, lah. Am I right to say that? Do I understand it? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go
Is
ahead.
there so is there anything that's in your opinion preventing like potential customers to adopt this rental model?
Sorry, say again.
Is there anything that's preventing potential customers to adopt this model, like to become customers? Is any problems that you're facing at the moment to get customers?
I mean, ultimately, that portion of trust and awareness is something that we need to bridge over time. The model is still very new in the market. Like most people haven't heard of it before. So then it's also like making sure that, like they get in the hands of customers or the customers hear about it. And then ultimately, in some cases, we'll still have to have our sales team to go and guide customers.
Okay.
So Bulong, on your end, right? Like having said that we like customer awareness is one of the issues. What has the company done in the sense to market this service to your potential clients?
So I mean, primarily in the last 2, 3 years, we've always been building up a lot of like online content. So at this point in time, say about like 80% of our customers come through SEO. There's an additional like 20% which is growing as we are doing more and more projects, like through organic referrals as well as paid and advertisements.
Okay. Sorry, I just curious, what is SEO?
SEO, search engine
Oh.
optimization,
Okay.
so
Understand.
organic search.
So in terms of pulling in customers is really just paid advertisement lah.
As well as organic search, and also like what I mentioned.
Okay. Still, you got any questions? Someone wanted to say anything? Nikita, was it you?
Yeah, I'm just looking through like the list of questions to see if we've missed any.
Bulong, just to understand, when your clients wants to install the solar panels, you rent them. In terms of installation wise, it includes connecting it to their own grid, right? And that's part of the service.
That's right.
Okay. Sorry, I think we are taking some time because we are reading through the list of questions and seeing which are the things that we still need from you.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I mean, if you have any follow-up, I'm happy to kind of just drop a voice note over to Justin as well.
Yeah, I think that sounds good. I think we've gotten the gist of what we wanted to know, the pain relievers and the gain creators sort of from your model. Yeah, I don't think I have any other question at the moment. Edward, you have anything?
I mean, I'm reading through. We more or less touch on most of the things. I think in terms of industry wise, we can do some research on ourselves. We don't have to bother Bulong with it lah.
Yeah.
Bulong, is it okay if we link up with you if you have any further questions, maybe via email or something, which is easier?
Yeah,
voice
sure.
note- voice note is easier, is it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like that is generally my preference. But feel free to like send me over the questions on email, and then I can respond accordingly as well.
All right.
Just one last question. This is just in Singapore right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. At this point in time, then we're starting to kind of like plan our next market.
Actually, I'm just asking out of curiosity, why don't you expand it to Malaysia? Since, I mean, Malaysia has much more landed properties compared to Singapore, right?
I mean, we are actually in the process of planning that out. Yeah, so by mid next year, we'll be looking next market for.
Is there a reason why you want to target the Singapore market first?
I mean, I think primarily, and there's a confluence of kind of reasons. There's a part of it which is, of course, we're starting out in Singapore, so like solving locally observed problems would be like a good start. Of course, but generally most startups in Singapore, like when you're starting out, you really have to always take like a regional view on what kind of problems you're solving. And then I think on top of that, like generally Singapore is also in terms of kind of like regulation, in terms of processes also more mature, which then allows us to build like a more tech-enabled kind of process first before starting to like validate that with the local market and then take it into a new market.
So to paraphrase, to make sure that I understand it, you're saying that in terms of regulations, it's easier to deal with in Singapore than the rest of the region, and hence you thought from a risk perspective, it's easier to start off in Singapore, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, you can look at it as like regulation clarity. You can look at it as kind of in our business model also like consumer credit risk. That's also like a very big part of what we have to assess. And then of course, like in terms of tech, you know, like consumer adoption, maturity, whether or not there are certain like same banking, financial processes in place. Are we able to like automatically collect payment? Yeah, all of these would be factors to consider.
I see. Okay.
And sorry, just follow-up questions. For your model, like, do you have an app, or how does it work? How does the customer get in touch with you? Is it through the website?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, so generally most of our customer engagement is really online. That's the reason why we're able to like bring down unit costs to be able to like successfully run these zero upfront cost models for like smaller scale properties as well. We're still the only ones in Singapore doing it for the residential segment at this point. But that's because we put a lot of our customers through like our online tool. So like on our site, you'll see like an online solar assessment tool. We typically then lead customers through like a digital site survey to our proposals. Compared to traditional solar companies would like have their first touch point as like a site survey, like a physical site survey.
Okay. And if through the rental period, if the customer has any, issues or any needs for service or maintenance or anything that they want to contact you for, that's also through the website.
I mean, currently most of our communication channels are on WhatsApp. We then have like a ticketing system integrated to WhatsApp with our CRM. But then in the meantime, we're also like in the process of building a mobile app.
Okay.
Yeah, but the view of it is always just, to kind of use existing tools, test it out, try and get it to a bit more maturity and an understanding of what the customer's needs are really are before we like build application or like tools to go and solve them.
Yeah, makes sense. And also, as opposed to rental, like when you buy the solar panels in the traditional manner and you want to install them, are there also a lot of like regulatory barriers for individuals who want to do that in Singapore?
Generally like regulatory clarity is quite high.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was it for me.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, feel free to just email me if you have any additional questions, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time out.
Okay, no problem. Thank
you.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
It's fine. Bye.
Hey, thanks Justin for hooking us